My name is Sojo Alex, and I'm from Envision Strategies. We are so excited to come back with some new thought leaders this year, especially those in the higher education food industry. So I have the privilege this year to talk to Peter from University of Wisconsin Madison. So I'm going to let Peter introduce himself and talk a little bit about the university and his dining program.
Yeah, thanks, Sojo, and thanks for having me today. So my name is Peter Testory, and I'm the Director for Dining and Culinary Services for the Housing Division here at the University of Wisconsin Madison. We have 6 all-you-care-to-eat facilities, one franchised licensed Starbucks location, one licensed Shake Smart location, a self-branded coffee shop, a self-branded smoothie shop, 3 C-stores, and then we also oversee, we have a cook chill facility as well as a central bakery production facility. We have a catering operation as well, and we oversee the trucking for the housing division here on campus. We have around 8,900 meal plan holders that dine with us, and we have about a little over 49,000 students total on campus here with us.
Wow. So the difference between Wisconsin and Madison, as far as your dining program goes, it sounds like the other parts of the retail program it's a bifurcated system, basically. So Peter, can you talk a little bit about that as well?
Yeah, so on our campus, we do have 2 separate food service operations. Our primary focus here in housing is the housing residents and those that are living with us. We do have a separate section of food service on campus that is primarily retail, and they operate out of the 2 student unions that are on campus.
Great. And we'll get a little bit into this through some of the questions that we're going to ask later. But I think we'll start with the first topic, and it's about overcoming complexity. We all know that dining is a very complex business, especially in the higher education sector. So it's not just about providing food anymore, right? It's about various aspects of it, from cooking to process to getting the food to mental health, wellness, and everything else, and connection, community, everything. And it's amazing how dining plays a huge role with that. And more than anything, the university has a mission as well, and how dining is trying to connect or is connecting or has to connect to that mission of the university. So all that together, it makes it a super complicated business, and also trying to get new sources of revenue after that. So what are some of the different challenges, Peter, that you've seen out of the complexities that you have faced in your time within dining?
Yeah, we have a lot of those. A lot of folks think that we are housing, right? So our focus is housing residents, but we have multiple layers of customers, right? We have our students that live with us. We have student organizations that do caterings with us. We have other departments and other stakeholders on campus that do caterings with us. And we're servicing everything from our students that are on the meal plan to high-end caterings for campus leadership at times, right? So we have a multiple layer of customers that all need something different and all expecting a different type of service, right? And then we can add in our virtual customer, which is our parents and family members of the students that are with us, and they're all, sometimes they have competing priorities and competing interests, right? From what they expect to what they expect to pay for the service, and sometimes none of that aligns. So over the last couple of years, some of the biggest challenges as a lot of food service operations have faced, right? Inflation, rising costs of food, labor has been a consistent challenge post-pandemic, pretty much. And we found ourselves in a situation where we're hiring employees with less skill set than we have in the past for higher wages. So we're bringing folks in that don't necessarily have the skill set that our employees have had in the past. So that's been a change, and something that our unit managers and unit management staff have had to adapt to. So we've had to do a lot of work around that, of how do we continue to bring these folks in and then get them trained up as quickly as possible while providing thousands of meals per meal period at the same time. As well, increased demands, right? I kind of talked about our different layers of customers, and there's always a demand for more. There's always a demand for more options, more services, more hours, more menu variety, you name it. But increased costs, labor
Right.
shortages, labor challenges, that those all compete with one another, right? So, and trying to explain that to a customer base that at times they're not interested in that, right? They have a meal plan, they have a catering, right? They just want the service that they're expecting. So those have been some of the major challenges over the last few years for sure. We do see the labor piece improving, and we are starting to get more experienced folks coming in through the door. So that's great to see.
That's great news. So, as when you've had all these challenges within the dining sector, how are other departments or the university? How do you engage them in having this conversation? Hey, these are the challenges. This is what we're trying to do. How do you engage the rest of the departments, or do you?
Yeah, that's I will say that when we came post pandemic, right, and we were having our significant labor issues, we had a pretty tough year, and campus was behind us 100%. They understood what was going on. They helped us with messaging. They helped us when they were receiving phone calls and complaints and those types of things. Outside of that, we're really kind of, I don't want to say we're on an island, but, we kind of work through our own problems, right? And we find solutions. We haven't gotten to a point where we've had to engage other campus departments or campus executive leadership or things like that for help or assistance. But we do know that they're always there to support us, and that they have our backs, and that they really support the program that we offer to students and to the campus and to the public.
That's amazing, Peter. You talked about solutions. So, what type of solutions, any creative solutions that you've come up with, have you employed to face some of these challenges?
I think when you look at the labor, one of the things we did is we've kind of really flipped the recruitment process completely the way that we were doing things. In the past, it was someone would come in, we would interview them, they would sell themselves as to why they should be hired, and then we made a decision. So we had to change the way that we thought about that, and we have to sell ourselves, and they're kind of interviewing us as to if they want to work here, and we have to sell the job, right? We're doing a lot more promoting the benefits of working with us, not necessarily just the health and the retirement and the vacation and the sick leave, but really some of those other ancillary benefits, cell phone discounts, rental car discounts, those types of things that are part of state employee benefits. So, and then really kind of, keeping more in touch with them through the recruitment process, keeping them up to date. So really focusing on selling ourselves as a quality employer. And then once they got on board, right, one of the things we realized that we weren't doing a great job of welcoming them onto the team and training them. So we created a first day experience. So their first day, they do a lot of kind of the required trainings, right, that to take that off the shoulders of the units to do. They're busy providing meals, give them tours, introduce them to everyone, really kind of work them into the program, into the team, and hopefully create a better first day, right? Instead of, here you are, here's your new work area, now go make lunch kind of thing. So really, really working with them on that. And then as far as the cost perspective, it's really been menu engineering. It's been working with our manufacturing partners to see what solutions we can come up with. And then working with our staff and just seeing where can we make cuts and where can we reduce expenses without lessening the quality of any part of our program.
Peter, that was a great, example of the first day experience. I've usually heard it, for the students' perspective, a first year experience, and not necessarily, for staff. That's a great idea. Do you do that for all staff or full-time staff? What about students as well, or how does that work?
So we do the first day kind of experience for full-time staff when they start. We also have been really intentional about really welcoming our student employees, right? At the same time we were going through a shortage of full-time staff, we were also going through a shortage of student employees. We have one unit that needs around 200 to 300 student employees to operate efficiently. We had 75
Wow.
at one point. So when students started to come back and we started to get the numbers that we needed, we started to do more things once because they're on campus a little bit earlier than the
Right.
rest of the residents. So we would do things like ice cream socials, movie nights, had a barbecue to kind of welcome everyone to come together. So hopefully they can start to build relationships with their coworkers,
Right.
as well as, both while they're working with us and within the residence halls outside. So, kind of easing the transition for them as well from home to campus to work, because all this is new experiences for all of them, right? A lot of them are away from home for the first time. They might be working a job for the first time. They might have a boss for the first time. So these are all brand new experiences that we're just trying to create. If you can create that positive environment from the first day and really create that commitment, they can see a commitment as an employer. You can get that commitment from an employee. It really helps with retention.
The other thing we've also been noticing on campus is suddenly dining is not just about providing food. They're looking to dining to come up with new sources of revenue, right? So if it's catering, catering was down, now it's up. Then we've heard of campuses, taking over hospitality as far as hotels go, because they're trying to get that new sources of revenue. Have you seen any of those happen on your campus, and how have you handled that complexity of not just providing food anymore, but taking over something else to continue that source of revenue?
Yeah, it is interesting because there is, this is kind of a battle, right? Like there's a desire for increased revenue, but at the same time, we do have less traffic on our campuses. We do have less staff on a regular basis through the remote work environment that we're kind of in now. So it's kind of balancing all that. For us in housing, really additional revenue equals, additional students in the residence halls or increased meal plan growth, right? All of which we welcome new students, but we try to keep the meal plan increases as low as we can, and really try to only increase what we expect our costs to increase, right? From a catering aspect, that's really our opportunity for revenue growth, whether it's in our facilities or we look at doing caterings on other parts of campus as well. We have seen growth in catering. There seems to be a strong desire to everyone seems to have event budget dollars to use. So that's been great for us. We are transitioning currently. The School of Business here on campus has an internal catering department, and they're going through a remodel of their first floor, and we're going to become the new service provider at that location. And we're going to be adding a franchise coffee location as well as some sort of franchise retail concept in that space as well. And again, that's going to be another opportunity for our housing residents to use their meal plan at that location, hoping to generate, to take some traffic away from our larger facilities into that one. That's not necessarily revenue growth. It's an additional option for students, but we do expect there to be some additional revenue from non-meal plan holders at that location.
Oh, great. You talked a lot about housing residents and their meal plans and how they use their meal plans. Do you have a lot of voluntary meal plan holders, or is that something you market as well, considering capacity and how that works? Or
our number one constraint within our program is seating and space. Unfortunately, we do not offer an off-campus or commuter meal plan or a faculty staff meal plan. We would love to, and that's a future goal. We do get requests. We get calls every year for that, but we're undersized right now for the residents. So, and again, that goes back to our primary focus, and we want to ensure that we have space for them before we start to look at those additional pieces. But I do think that there is a lot of opportunity in that area, and that would be an opportunity for significant revenue growth for us.
Well, Peter, the other topic that we wanted to talk about was about communication and collaboration within food service. I mean, we have so many day-to-day things that's going on that sometimes we either forget or things get left out. As being a part of this large university, there's so many levels that you have to communicate it to, about what's happening in food service and the decisions that you've made, either from to the top or to our staff and our team. We want to talk a little bit and understand what you've been doing in terms of communication and collaboration within food service, right? So the number one thing that we've heard over our consultancy period of being here is that 100% the transparency part of it. So, what have you done to ensure, the transparency with people and with your staff, or with the rest of your people above you, and what are the challenges that you've heard with that transparency as well, and how do you overcome those?
So I think when you talk about transparency, right, we have a few different levels with that. We have transparency with our students, transparency with our staff, transparency with campus and parents as well, right?
Good one.
One of the things that we implemented a few years ago is we offer all of the families free meals during move-in when they're moving their student in. We have found that helps a lot with dispelling some of those perceptions or complaints that the parents would get from the students, right? If they can come in, they can see the food that we offer, the quality of food that we offer, the way that it's presented, see the nutritionals presented, see the allergens presented, interact with our staff. One, it makes them feel comfortable with leaving their student, right? Two, it gives them a better idea of the quality of program we offer, right? And the effort we put into making sure that our students get the best program that they can. From the other thing that we do with students is we have a dining advisory board here on campus, and we try to have a representative of each residence hall. And when we bring them in, there's nothing that we hide from them that from an informational standpoint. We share it all, right? We'll bring in manufacturers to talk to them. We'll bring in manufacturers to do presentations, because we all know there's that misconception of the mystery meat, right? And the more we can get the message out of, no, we choose our products and we choose our manufacturing partners very intentional. And we go through a lot of care and a lot of process to make sure we're picking the best product that we can for our program, while ensuring we're staying within the necessary cost parameters. With that, we also bring our manufacturers into our facilities, right? We let them know, like, we can offer you a captive audience of 6,000 to 7,000 students during a meal period who are going to be future consumers in the future. So again, our students are seeing the folks that we're partnering with to bring in products as well. I think some of the challenges with that can be is getting that message out there. That's not something that we do a phenomenal job at, right? We don't, our campus farm, our clean labels, like we have to do a better job of telling that stuff. We recently went through an exercise, actually just 2 days ago. We constantly tell our marketing department, we want to tell our story more, right? Like we're saying, tell our story. From their end, like, what is our story, right? What do we want them to do? They're not part of our food service operation. So we went through an exercise with all of our management staff, and it was actually a slide I took from the most recent National NACUFS conference of helping, what do we want our brand identity to be? What are some of the misconceptions we think that customers have of us? What are some of the innovative options in technology out there? So 5 steps, and our managers all work together, and we created a list, say, marketing, this is what we want our brand to be. This is what we want to market about, what the misconceptions of our program is out there, so that we can give them a little bit more direction other than just tell our story, right? Like, so I think all of that is extremely important. And I really believe that being honest as forthright as you can, even with some of your negative information, right? Food waste is not a phenomenal topic. And I think we all have a certain degree of it. I have a goal to have all of our food waste information front facing for students on a daily basis, that they can go in and see, partnering with our food waste technology supplier, what was wasted during lunch yesterday, right? And how many pounds, those types of things. Now, there's a huge risk with that, right? Because now we are just putting it all out there. But I think it's also important to share that information and to share that we care, right? We care. We want to attack this behavior. We want to help change this behavior within our program and within our consumers.
So there's so much information that you have that you want to put out there. And right now, especially in the last few years, we're dealing with multiple generations of folks. So what is the best way your marketing department, or how you've been communicating disinformation or even day-to-day information to this, to long-term information to these multiple generations.
It's very interesting when we talk about that. I've been in the CNU space for a little over 20 years at this point, and I'm really dating myself right now. And to see how everything has changed, right? Even from our straight line buffets to our multi-venue concepts, those types of things, but also the access that students have to us and to all the information, right? Like 20 years ago, you weren't getting pictures put on Snapchat of your compost bins kind of thing, right? So those are challenges that we have to adapt to. We have to continue to learn. It's one of the great things about our dining advisory board, right? Is we create this open, honest relationship where we want to know both the negative and the positive, right? And we genuinely want to know, how can we reach students? We're not trying to just do it to go through an exercise. We generally want to reach them and hear their feedback, as well as for them to learn more about our program at the same time. So every year it changes a little bit. Students that are coming in now are, we went through a phase where there was a huge push on sustainability, but not in action, right? It was in voice, but not if it directly impacted their day-to-day lives, right? So we're seeing a change now. It's okay for an impact on a day-to-day life, and sustainability is extremely important. So, it's continuing to adapt. And that's one of the things I love about this industry is in 10 years from now, I will have learned so much more than what I know right now, because we will continue to change and evolve with our customer base.
Peter, that was an excellent conversation with you. I've learned so much about the complexities that you are going through as a food service leader, and also, how you're communicating all of that and working towards the trends and working towards what you are intending for your food service program to be at Madison. So thank you for being here. I really appreciate the time, and I'm hoping to talk to you more about this and learn a lot more.
Thanks for having me.